Hi, I'm Dave Green. Today we'll be talking about global warming and the fact that it is vital to solve it. Mr. Green, when you say vital, do you really mean vital, like it's really, we must solve global warming, or do you mean it'll just be nice to, or shut up, me from the past, you're boring. And by the way, when I say vital, I mean vital. We really have to do something. And by the way, your mustache sucks and it can go die. In our last episode, we talked about what global warming actually is. It is when pollution, such as carbon dioxide and methane in the atmosphere, acts as a light-permeable, heat-insulating layer, keeping the Earth at a steady, warm temperature, sort of like a greenhouse would. By the way, although that's not the exact same definition we used last week, it's more technical, and frankly, this is a summary, that's sort of what we do. Along with that, we also covered the negative effects it has on the climate. But now, we are going to discuss what needs to happen for a viable solution to exist. Well, you're probably thinking right now that global warming and climate change can be solved in like 205 easy steps, or something like that as soon as you saw the title of this video. But, you are wrong. Well, there will probably be roughly 205 steps back to the pre-industrial climatical era, but they will certainly not be easy steps. We can probably all agree that just for a start, stopping CO2 emissions would pretty much be good. However, there are two questions. First of all, which we will address next week, how will we incentivize and balance our economy to make a rapid green shift? I mean, we've practically been ignoring this for 50 years, but, we sort of have to address it. The second question is what our current methods of energy will be replaced by. Nuclear energy has become a promising source of energy, but will probably not become a main source due to, accidents like Chernobyl and Fukushima. I mean, who wants a nuclear reactor within 10 miles of your house? We want to emphasize here on Crash Course that nuclear technology is actually extremely safe. Chernobyl was just with really primitive equipment, and Fukushima, a tsunami cracked. Oh, is it time for the open letter? An open letter to nuclear reactors. But first, let's see what's in the secret compartment today. Oh, it's a piece of concrete that actually came from Chernobyl. Wow! I'm gonna go put this in my microwave. Dear nuclear reactors, for some reason, nobody likes you. It's probably because you're ugly, emit huge amounts of radiation, are really fragile in the wrong circumstances, and, are really expensive. But then again, so are cell phones. Get used to it. Actually, nuclear reactors are very good. I mean, sure, if, say, hit by a tsunami or something, thousands of people will die and the whole world will be affected for, years to come. But still, you give great energy, great jobs, you're good for the environment, and you're extremely reliable. Sure, they have a negative connotation, but in the long run, solving the climate crisis is way more important than a few deaths. I mean, we'll all be cooked anyway, so some of you might as well take one for the team. Best wishes, Dave Green. Some other alternatives to nuclear energy are solar, wind, hydroelectric, and geothermal energy. Now, there is no completely universal ideal source, just simply because each one of these are so suited to different geological structures and climates. As an example of this, solar energy would be great in a place like Arizona where there's little cloud coverage and lots of direct sunlight. However, wind energy would not work very well there, whereas in a place like Washington State, it would work well because it's so windy and mountainous. Likewise, places with ample volcanic activity should host geothermal energy, and canyon regions should host hydroelectric. Here at Crash Course, we try to be frank about things that demand frankness, and frankly, global warming is an inescapable reality. Sort of like how once you fall off a cliff, there's really no climbing back up the cliff because you're sort of dead. You can already see this in the way the EU and China are doing business. They're in damage control. They've implemented 45 mile per gallon car standards, limits on air conditioning, which in China's case provides 30% of its energy use, and they've been shutting down inefficient coal and oil plants. Of course, in China's case, this is probably due to their constantly hazy air and level 5 toxicity rivers, but still, it's pretty good. But the thing about global warming is that once it reaches a threshold in the atmosphere, there is no stopping it. Another misconception about global warming is that there always have to be unusually high temperatures. What it is really is that the higher temperatures, usually in higher latitudes, wreck the wind currents and the ocean currents, and just completely, in turn, destroys the weather. Bring higher temperatures and lower temperatures. This climate can then mess up other currents, which can then in turn mess up other climates, and then it just goes on and on and on. This is called a runaway positive feedback. But that startling reality doesn't mean we shouldn't act. It is still important that the Earth only rise 3 degrees Celsius, instead of like 6 or 7. I mean, seriously, you might not think it's very much, but there's a significant difference between living in a permanently plus 3 Celsius world and a permanently plus 6 or 7 Celsius world. Which, of course, is where damage control kicks in. Now, we can all agree that something must be done about global warming, but the question is, what to do? We have some options, but really, the future will be an experiment. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week. Daniel Winkleman is our photographer and editor, Tyler Walker is our script supervisor and intern, and all of us wrote the script. This is a message that needs to be heard. Post it wherever you feel like. Thanks for watching, and as I say in my hometown, don't forget to be green.